Now, in Mark chapter 16, verse 15, it says that Yeshua said, go into all the world, preach the gospel to every creature. He that believes and is baptized, mikvah, shall be saved. See, the mikvah is part of salvation. It's part of wholeness. I hear people all the time saying, well, is that a salvation issue? They treat salvation like it's a one-time deal, like, you step over the line, is it a salvation issue? Oh, now you're saved. No, salvation, saved, sozo, is wholeness. If you want to be whole, then there's a path that you follow. It's not I did this and now I'm saved. That is nonsense. It's biblical illiteracy to even think that way. Oh, I went to a crusade and I got saved, just in case all this God stuff is really true. No, that doesn't work. He that believes and follows in the mikvah, because that is that act of faith, going into that water, going into that running water that your past is washed away, it's over, and you start life over again. He that believes and follows me, obeys me, and is mikvah, is baptized, shall be made whole. He that does not believe will be judged. And this is exactly the formula that we're given in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15 and following, of the prophet that we must hear and obey. If we believe him, we will obey him. We will shema, hear and obey. And if we do not obey him, we will be judged. This is just basically a quote right from Deuteronomy. And then he goes on to say that these signs will follow those that believe. In my name, they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. If serpents attach themselves, or if they drink any deadly thing, it will not harm them. It doesn't say go out and deliberately play with serpents. It doesn't say go out and drink Drano or eat a hamburger at a fast food joint, any deadly thing. No, it didn't say to do that. If this happens, just as Shaul in the book of Acts, a viper came out attached to his hand, he shook it off, and he kept on speaking the word. He didn't freak out. The people sitting there thought that he was going to die. He thought that he was some kind of evil person, and even though the shipwreck, he survived that, well, what comes around, goes around, comes around, and he's got to be some evil person. And when it didn't happen, it's like, oh, this guy's a god. Well, this is what Yeshua said. If serpents attach themselves, it says they will lay hands on the sick. And that really is a commandment. They will do it. Lay hands on the sick, and they will recover. And we see this, of course, all throughout the book of Acts. They're living proof that this is actually happening. Dorcas, which is a gazelle. This is her name. She was a lovely woman who was a seamstress. She was dead. Peter went in and prayed for her and raised her from the dead. And talking about sick and being recovered, this woman was so sick, she had no breath life in her. So it was after Yeshua spoke to them that he was received up into heaven, and he sat down on the right hand of Yehovah. And then we're going to read the closing verse in Luke 24:50. Yeshua led them out as far as Bethany, which is the house of figs. He lifted up his hands and blessed them. How did he do it? The last blessing. Yivarechecha Yehovah v'yishmerecha. Yair Yehovah panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Yehovah panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. And he's carried up into heaven. So the disciples returned to Jerusalem, as it says in Acts 24:52. They worshiped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy and were continually in the temple praising and blessing Yehovah. Where does Luke, the author of the book of Acts, say that they were? Continually in the temple. They went back to Jerusalem, and they are in the temple. What are they waiting for? They're waiting for the Feast of Shavuot, and now we get into the Acts of the Apostles. It is Acts chapter 1, verse 1. I will read it out of the, first of all, the chronological Gospels. A true word have I previously detailed, O beloved of Yehovah. O Theophilus is beloved, Theophileo, okay? Beloved of Theos, which, could be a name, but is probably, in the original, beloved of Yehovah. A true word have I previously detailed, O beloved of Yehovah, because it's written to all of us. That which I've previously told concerning all that Yeshua began both to do and teach until the day in which he was taken up into heaven. And that is what Luke concludes with, the ascension. It came to pass while he blessed them, he's parted from them and carried up into heaven. So Luke goes right from right here. After he was taken up into heaven, Yeshua gave commandments to the apostles whom he had chosen by way of the Ruach Kodesh, or by way of the Holy Spirit, to whom, these apostles, he had also showed himself alive after these things, after he suffered by many infallible proofs. He showed himself that there was no way they could deny it. They were out fishing. He prepares a meal with coals on the beach and sits there and eats with them and speaks with them. Yeshua was seen to them for 40 days and spoke to them concerning the things pertaining the kingdom of Yehovah. And this is, in a nutshell, what he was doing. That entire period of time is rehearsing for 7 Sabbaths, this period of time on the way to Shavuot. Every day, every bit of the way, he was rehearsing what he had been teaching them over the last year. The kingdom, the gospel of the kingdom. That's what these men are going to be preaching out there, the gospel of the kingdom, and they need to know every single detail, and then the Holy Spirit is going to bring it all to pass.